Hi. Today, awesome topic, negotiation. Totally not enough attention is being paid to negotiation. I feel that everybody who starts buying from Alibaba just accept the price, clicks the order button, and then it's just hit with a huge bill. So today we talk about negotiations, so stay tuned. So here we go. You should be able to see two different invoices from the same supplier that I received for my new product, right? So I'm creating a new product. It's a bit different. I'm very excited, by the way. But I thought it worked actually really well. So obviously not every time we negotiate it works in our ways, but this one worked pretty well. So I thought I'd show you what I've done. So the original price that I received for 2,000 pieces that I originally required was actually lower than this. It was $2.58, which I thought, that's all right. So I had multiple quotes, obviously. What I always teach is to get a lot of quotes, get a lot of samples, and then test everything. So I always say have your first negotiation round before you order a sample. I know some people say don't do that. I'm a big fan of that. Why is that? Because I want to see if they're like willing to do something for me. Where can I go? So if I have 10 quotes and I can see that these 2 or 3 suppliers are all like in the same area, then I just try to see if I can level them out to each other. That's really good. Then I run my profitability, and then if I'm happy, I order multiple samples, which is also what I've done here. However, you see, that's the beginning, right? And that's what I'll pay finally. So you can see here, I almost saved 40 cents. That's $1,100. That's my shipping cost, right? So if you can save $1,100 on your order and you can cover your shipping, then you're all good to go. The original price that I received was these $2.58, right? Then after I received my samples, what I've done, I got multiple samples from different suppliers. I compared them. They were all right, but one stood out, which is the one that I kind of already favored because the negotiation and the whole communication with my contact was really great. And I kind of thought, yep. Also, the sample was like way more expensive. So for one of my samples, the cheapest one, I paid $350, and for the most expensive one, which is actually what I'm going for now, I paid $550. That sounds really expensive, but it's an item with 4 components. Everything is custom made, so they had to actually do the whole thing for me, and it wasn't just like put a sticker on and then it will work. So a bit more expensive sample. I'm happy to do that. So I got all these samples, and I always kind of played with the suppliers, right? So I would write my supply that I like, that she's, for example, like after I received all, I kept her in the loop. I find it super important to tell people, hey, I'm ordering 5 samples. That's what I straight away I said. Quality is for me the most important reason when I'm gonna make my decision based on. The next thing I said is that I like when it's quick. I like quick communication. If there's any delay, I want to be informed about it, right? Please get back to me if you have any questions about the printing, the files that I'm sending you, anything, really, literally anything you have questions, I want to know so I can react. Which is one person that kind of let me hang a little bit. The other one's like this lady here, Ivy, she was awesome. I really like her. Very quick reply. So I kept telling her I'm already received the other sample. She is the latest one. So I kind of like put a little bit of pressure on her, but still saying, yeah, okay, I understand. I really want to get a good sample. And she had really good reasons why things were a little delayed. So there was some issues with the files that I sent. And the other lady was like, later on, I found out that they just actually put a sticker on it, on my sample, instead of actually having it printed on my actual product. So they didn't actually create my product, where she actually did create my product with all the printing on the product, and that's why it's also more expensive and took a little longer. So all quite reasonable. And I kept always telling everybody, you're still in the race. This is what I'm doing next. I'm going to wait, and I'm waiting for a final sample, and I'm going to evaluate them with my business partners. You know, it just helps to put a little bit more shoulders behind yourself. And then I told her that congratulating her because she's still in the race and she's done a really good job, and I'm happy. But you can also see where I wrote here, I said, I'm happy. I want to make my decision really quick. Urgency, even if you're a customer, you know that's a really good marketing tool. Urgency helps in the best possible way. You just like say, I want to decide today or tomorrow. You have to come back to me. And then you kind of already waving with the dollar notes right into their face. So it's just awesome. Then you talk about the other company. Even so, she knew it by this time that I had 2 more samples. One was out, and the second one was pretty good. It met most of my expectation. She doesn't need to know that it didn't really meet everything that I was expecting. However, I told her they met my expectations, and there was a few bits and pieces were wrong about her specific sample. Blacking that out here, but I really liked something particular about this sample that I received from her. So I said, yeah, I would like to proceed, but I need that price. So remember, she's coming after the sample. I asked her again, so what's the cost? I actually asked also, what's the cost, not for just for the 2,000 initial pieces that are my initial request. I also asked her for the price for 3,000, actually also for 5,000, which was over, was like 285, I think. So quite pricey. Sorry, 258. So my initial price was the same. So I asked her that I want 3,000, right? That's what I would like to do because she sent me that, but I need $2.20, which is obviously coming down quite a lot, right? And but I said, for my next order, I'm already thinking about what happens afterwards. By November, I expect to order 10,000 because I'm expecting the spread to go through the roof, right? So back and forth a little bit. So put a little bit of time pressure on there. I offered her more, and I kind of like put a little bit of, we say in German, I put a honeycomb her a little with her great sample, and that she's so awesome, and I was really happy with everything. And then she replied really quick. That's what I always really loved. So I made a point of it, right? Wow, I love your quick replies. That's awesome. Highly appreciate that she has an intense process. And she came back with a huge email and saying, but we have to do this, and it takes so long. We get the best quality, and there's multiple checks, and we're using the best printing machines, and even told me the brand of the printing machine, and I have no idea, and I don't really care either. But I just said, okay, cool. She took all the time to write me all these things, which is obviously their method. I mean, they're learning negotiation as well. So I highly appreciate that she going through all this intense process. I wrote that again, and then I said, hey. Because then she said, no, we can do $2.40. And I said, no, I don't want $2.40. It's just not enough. I really need these $2.20. And I know I knew $2.20. When I went in there with my $2.20, I knew that we have to meet up at $2.30. So that was my target thing, right? So I went down to $2.20 here. And then now I had the chance to say, okay, how about we meet at $2.30? In the middle, great. And I also offer you a little bit of an extra thing. Normally, I request a payment term of 30/70. But because you come to me, I come to you, and I pay 40/60. How's that sound? So I thought, it's always give and take. And I also made sure that if you send me the plan today, the link, then I pay the same day. So a lot of things that you can give and take, and I find it's really, really important when we're talking about the whole thing about negotiation. Then it's really, that's what it comes down to, right? You have to give and you have to take. You can request a lot of things, but without being able to give something, it's just not going to work. So at the end of the day, I had a really, really great product, or we're getting one now. I'm actually getting a 4th component now, which I didn't ask initially for, but in the whole sample process, I thought, I kind of do need that. And she gives that for me kind of for free now. So I'm getting an outer packaging for free. So the initial price for my 2,000, for my 258 now went down to $2.30 for 3,000, and I'm not just getting 3 components, I'm getting 4. And on top of that, she's not just going to send me 3,000, she's going to send 20 to my home on top of that, which is included in the price for me to give away to influencers and stuff, that just to do a little bit of my own bits and pieces. So I'm getting a bit more for all of this, but I also gave her things, right? I was happy to pay really quick. I was happy not just getting 2,000, but getting 3,000. I was really happy with all her services and the whole way she carried the process on her end, and how she kept me in the loop. So I kept telling her that, and she came back and said, I had my boss and he was agreeing. So I wrote this thank you email saying, thank you, appreciate you, and I'll also please say thank you to your boss. It makes me super happy. You know, just the whole Chinese culture is about keeping your face and making people happy. So, unlike Western cultures where you sometimes can be a bit harsh and say, all right, and I just keep your stuff. I find very successful. I like to be really happy, especially if I actually do really want this supplier to work with me. So there's a lot of things that I can that I can ask for, which don't really cost them much, like things like a better payment term. In this case, now I offered something because I wanted something more, and I thought, what can I do that doesn't actually cost me more? And it doesn't cost me more. It's just I'm paying a bit more upfront, but I have to pay eventually anyhow, so it doesn't really matter to me. But I also make sure that she puts my order in now as priority. Things like, whoa, that doesn't cost her much. She just like literally needs to start paying my producing my product today and not in a week or 2 weeks, which is awesome. So these are kind of the things that you can give, and then you can ask for certain things. And if you do this every time, it has to do with practice. Even if you end up not buying a product from somebody, you can always go through a process. Now, I find that the best way of doing that is by always starting with getting multiple quotes, so you know where you can move. I did have quotes initially for my 2000 at $1.68, which I also had a sample from, and it would have been all right. So it was an all right sample, so I could have done it. So I knew there was room, but there was still quite a lot of errors, and I didn't like the communication, and they kind of like went a little bit cheap for the sample, and I thought, I don't want to do this. I don't want to risk it to then put an order in for 3,000. But I knew that there were other people out there that I could go to that were way, way cheaper. So I knew I had room here to wriggle, right? So next time when I order 10,000, I know that I can most likely go on to $1.80. That's my expectation for next time. The reason maybe you've asked why I did go for an EXW quote is because I'm sending the products to all different markets around the world. So I'm going to send 2,000 to the US market, 5 to Australia, 5 to the UK, and 5 to the UK. Yep. So it didn't really make sense to ask for an FOB or any other quote because I had to get my own freight forwarder in and pick them up. If you need help with negotiation, you can practice this with me, by the way. I've done this a lot of times in my former job when I was a sales manager and sales trainer, so I do know what I'm doing. If you have any comments, questions, please make sure you pop them in, subscribe, and give me a like if you find this really helpful. Thank you.